Hi there, friends. Many of us understand that there are loopholes within our brain that some truly take advantage of. It's me, your girl, Daisy Dame. Welcome back to my channel. I'm genuinely blessed to have you here. Today, we are looking into something very interesting. Now, I know some of you out there may already have heard of the Temple of the Psychic Youth, but I thought it was just very curious. And for those of you in the UK, this one's for you. Now, many of you know I am a very spiritual and faithful type person. That includes things like meditation and so on. I've been an artist all my life. And one thing I found myself doing is drawing these symbols. Symbols, I called them, but others would call them sigils. But we'll get more into that in just a moment, because it's time that we dive deep into groupthink and the painful reflections of the Temple of Psychic Youth. And I find it curious because I hadn't heard much about this, and that's until recently. Apparently, the untold story of the Temple of Psychic Youth is getting its very own documentary treatment, and I do believe this is in 2016. Now, a name that's so important to know is Genesis P. Ordridge, a fellow wreckers of civilization. They will tell their story as a message from the temple. A new documentary from filmmaker Jacqueline Castel. Watch the trailer if you so choose. Many of you know I often bring up John B. Calhoun's Mouse Utopia experiments to the point where you're all probably tired of hearing it. But it's important, and it plays a part in this entire ordeal. You see, groupthink sounds very similar and very much like that of behavioral sync. So if we have all these terms since the 50s or more, it just amazes me. It astonishes me that people are not more aware of what is actually taking place. They're not more aware of the subtle shortcuts in our brain that they continue to use against us. As humans, we're such curious creatures, always wanting to fit in. The Temple of Psychic Youth, abbreviated as TOPY, was a British magical organization. Did you hear that? A British magical organization, a fellowship of chaos magic, and the network founded in 1981 by Genesis. And this too makes me think of Grimes and that song Genesis that is so alluring and you just can't get it out of your head. But let's move along. Lead member of multimedia group Psychic TV, the network, including members of Coil and Current 93. It was a loosely federated organization of members and initiates, operating as an order of ceremonial magic and booty magic. Booty magic. For those of you who might not know what that is, I'll put it on the screen right now. Alright, let's go further into the creation and their influence. Their early network consisted of a number of stations. This was worldwide, including TOPY Chaos for Australia, TOPYNA for North America, and TOPY Station 23 for the United Kingdom and Europe. Smaller grassroots level substations called access points were located through America and Europe throughout its existence. And here is the curious part. They were a very influential group in the underground chaos magic scene. This is important. What is chaos magic? Don't worry, I'll tell you. It's also spelled with a K, right? Who else did that? Well, we'll get there. It was emerging in England in the 1970s as a part of a wider neo-pagan esotericist. Wow. Do you see any neo-pagans in modern times? For those of you unaware, the answer is yes. So, it drew into this esoteric subculture. It drew heavily on the occult's beliefs. And artist Osmond Spar expressed several decades earlier. It has been characterized as an invented religion. And some commentators draw similarities between the movement of Discordianism. Magical organizations within the tradition include the Illuminates of Thanateros and the Temple of Psychic Youth. The founding figures of chaos magic believed that other occult traditions had become too religious in character. They attempted to strip away the symbolic, the ritualistic, and the theological. These were otherwise ornamental aspects of occult traditions. They wanted to leave behind a set of basic techniques that they believe were the basis of this magic. Chaos magic teaches that the essence of magic is that perceptions are conditioned by beliefs, and that the world as we perceive it can be changed deliberately by changing those beliefs. Gee golly, it's as if we've heard about this before. It's as if this might be another rebranding or repackaging, right? Doesn't it sound familiar? Don't worry, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'll tell you why. Many of us, again, already know the laws that govern this world. Some unchangeable forevermore. And one of those just may be the law of attraction. So, chaos magic teaches that the essence of magic, again, is conditioned by beliefs. Chaos magicians subsequently treat belief as a tool, often creating their own magical systems and frequently borrowing from magical traditions, religious movements, pop culture, and various strands of philosophy. It sounds a lot like take what works for you and leave the rest. Hugh Urban described chaos magic as a union of traditional occult techniques applied postmodernism, particularly about the skepticism concerning the existence or knowability of the objective truth. Namely, according to them, chaos magic rejects the existence of an absolute truth. Consider the massive outreach of bands like the Beatles and more, and the impact that they had on society. Is it so that the Temple of Psychic Youth, too, had their impact on society? Don't get me wrong, I love the UK, but this is quite curious. And you might consider, wouldn't it somehow connect to the Mr. Big Bad, the worst of them all? Yeah, you guessed it. Mr. Crowley. Mr. Crowley. Yes, Aleister Crowley. He too believed in booty magic, chaos magic, and all kinds of magic. In fact, they ended up leading their own movement due to their own stubborn beliefs. What do you guys think about all this? Have you heard about this before? Do you see the subtle influence on society? Do you ever catch those shortcuts in your brain? Do you ever catch them in attempts of manipulation? Because it just never ends. What I'm going to do is make another part to this video going deeper into the Temple of Psychic Youth themselves. I really just wanted to lay the groundwork for chaos, magic, and more. Thank you so much for joining me. Please don't forget, stay awake, stay aware, stay well, and give your loved ones a hug. Tell them you love them. You don't need an excuse. Thank you so much for joining me for your very own deprogramming session. And thank you again to my members. You are the coal that makes this train roll, and I could not do it without you. I hope you've enjoyed spending this time with me. I hope that you've enjoyed learning a bit more about the Temple and Chaos Magic, and I look forward to part 2. Don't forget, give thanks when able, and consider memberships, for they are only $2 holla. I'm not one to badger you about doing so much for me. I know that times are hard, so please do ensure that you do all that is free, for it is free. Hit the like, sub, and bell, and I'll see you again soon. Bye, guys.